Okay, now the second part is arm yourself with offense. All right, now this is my specialty. There's a lot of guys that can teach you the defense. They can warn you about women. They can warn you about hypergamy. There's a lot of guys that can do that. But the cool thing is when not only the defense is the most important, but the offense is like, hey, you don't ever have to use the offense if you don't want to. But when you know it, it makes it a lot more fun. So when you understand how women communicate, you can use this knowledge to attract her. She will gladly play along. All right, now, again, remember that women will always communicate in a covert way, under the radar. Covert. Overt for men. We're above, over. We're showing our hand. Overt, covert, cover, under the radar. So unless she can't figure out a guy, then she will be frustrated and have no choice but to use overt and straightforward talks to get her point across. When you guys see my texts that where women are chasing and they're so overt, they're so they tell me they miss me, they tell me blah blah blah. It's again because when a women normally don't have to use this straightforward talk. They usually can get everything they want by being under the radar with that iceberg. But when you make it hard for them to figure you out, they have no choice but to go, crap, everything else isn't working. He's not getting it. Now I have to tell him exactly what I want. Now I have to go, hey, we've been texting for a couple weeks now. Why haven't you asked me out? That's what a girl will have to say. And then I can just go, why haven't you asked me out? Just like that, like something like that. But you will start to see her be overt with you when she can't figure you out. All right, so mission, communicate covertly with her. All right? Do not when you're dealing with men, when I'm hanging out with guys, I don't withhold information. Guys would get annoyed of me. All right? If I'm hanging out with my buddies, I don't go, "Hey guys, I got a story for you," and I leave them on a cliffhanger. Oh, if you want to hear it, you're going to have to keep asking me. Guys would be like, "Dudes, stop playing games. Just tell me what it is," right? So when you're communicating with guys, communicate like a guy. But when you communicate with women, communicate covertly. Instead of always being straightforward in an open book, you must try to be covert. The less you say, the less you give away, the more she tries to figure you out. And this is one of my texting tips that I gave a while ago on Instagram was sometimes less is more. Not sometimes, always less is more. I would change that, but just wanted to put it in there. Okay, so the less you give her, she can't figure you out. And then you don't have to do anything. She tries to figure you out with her iceberg. She tries to figure out the meaning of what you said. The less clear you are, with women, the more clear she will try to get with you. It's a weird game, but when you understand it, it makes it fun. So your offense is to melt her iceberg. When you're unclear about your feelings, aka you stop telling her you like her, stop complimenting her out of the blue. Her mind will go into hyperactive mode trying to figure out what you said. Remember that ball of yarn that we talked about? Women's mind is a ball of yarn. She's going to go crazy. What? Why did he say that? Why did he reply with just sounds good? Why did he reply with blah, blah, blah? Why is he blah, blah, blah? Why is he not being clear with me? Eventually, all of that boom, 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 boom will overheat her brain and it will melt her little iceberg into a puddle of wetness for you. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Puddle of wetness for you guys. You know where I'm talking about too. That is what gets women fired up. If you guys saw my video about never make it easy for women or something like that, and I showed you text, and I was laying in bed with a girl, and we'd been seeing each other for 3 or 4 years, right? And I still am making it unclear to her. She comes over and she dresses super duper sexy, and I don't slobber. I play it cool always. She has to work for me every single time she comes over. Every single time the movie we're watching, the Disney movie we're watching, is more important than she is. And she can't figure out why. So what does she do when she can't figure out why? Okay, remember, if a guy is being overt with how much he likes a girl, he looks at her, he's like, oh, how are you doing? How are you feeling? He's laying with her. Oh, you want to hold hands? All that stuff, right? He's being so overt that she's like, this is boring. A girl might be laying with me and I don't even see her. Hey, shh, shh, shh. It's my favorite part. Look at Rapunzel there. Look at Rapunzel. I'm talking about like my favorite Disney movie or something like that. This is my shh. This is one of my favorite songs. She goes, why is he paying attention to this movie when I'm wearing this super sexy new lingerie I got? Why is he blah, blah, blah? You see what happens is you melt her iceberg. And the thing is about women is, again, like I said, they want everybody to know this game. They want every guy to play this game, but they never want to tell you to play it. This is why women will chase after a man that understands this. This is what they want. This is what they crave. And when you give it to them, you make her wet between the legs. All right, so here's just an example of when she says, you never tell me how you feel. I get this one a lot. You guys might get, if you're following the principles of texting eventually, you never text me. Why don't you ever text me? Why don't I hear from you? Okay? This is a good sign because she's not able to figure you out. So she relies on going into her overt masculine communication to ask you how you feel. She is basically admitting, you confuse me. It's not fair. Now tell me how you feel. That is what she wants. You never tell me how you feel. You never tell me how you feel. You know, if a girl says that to me in person, you never tell me how you feel. I just go, I feel like I really want to finish this movie. Shh. That would be an example of how I could do that. And you know what? She loves that because you're not making it easy for her. Women are get bored when you make it easy for them because remember, they're psychological ninjas. They've been through all this. But when you give them a little bit and you're unclear, she doesn't know what the heck to do and she loves it. The number 2 rule is always say less. All right, so how many women tell you, and we have just 2 more slides after this, how many women tell you the key to a good relationship is communication? Not only how many women tell you this, how many beta-mon men tell you this? I have to bite my tongue, guys. All right, I have to bite my tongue when I'm around married men, men with boyfriends, beta-mon men, and they get together and they give each other advice. Dude, hey, listen, man. Hey, come in here, man. Come in here. They're giving one beta-mon's giving advice to the next beta-mon. Boom, come in here, man. Come in. Hey, I'm gonna save you a bunch of fights in your relationship. Here's 2 things. Communicate, and your wife is always right. Boom. There, you're welcome. I just saved you. That is the guys. That's the that is the beta-mon advice they give. And I'm sitting here like I literally have to like have a book on me so I can pretend like I'm not listening because I couldn't keep a straight face if I hear that. I have such a hard time shutting my mouth about certain things. But that is the advice they give you. Communicate, and she's always right. No matter what, she's always right. And you know what happens? That makes women harden the iceberg. The iceberg gets stronger. It doesn't melt into wetness. It hardens her. She gets colder, and she wants less and less to do with you when you play this game. So, again, number 1 rule, never believe what she says. The number 2 rule is communicate less verbally. Make her iceberg mind figure you out. Because once she figures you out, her hypergamy goes, I got this guy. I already attained him. Now, who's next? I can find a better guy. More global warming. And I wanted to say this with this slide because the number 2 rule was going to say communicate less, but it's not quite that simple. So it's like say less than you want because the more you give a woman, the more you tell her how you feel, the more you're overt with your communication, the more she can use that against you. Women will twist words in all sorts of crazy ways. You guys know. But it's not communicate less. It's literally you communicate differently. You say less, but you communicate differently. And what I mean by this is when I'm with a girl, and I was just thinking about this right before I started this presentation, I was like, okay, I got to give a better example because you communicate differently. When I'm with a girl, I say so much less than she does. Well, I tell you guys on first dates, I try to do 20% of talking or less. She does 80% or more. Okay, now but what I do is I may say less, but I'm very responsive with how I communicate with my body language. So a girl starts talking. A girl starts talking about feminism. Oh, and the feminine, and my body language, it's not that I just sit here and just take it. My body language says a lot. I communicate with my body language. She says something, she says it, boom, and I just look at her. I give her like one of those. I say a lot with my face. I say a lot with my body, like. And it gets to the point where women now, they'll say something and it's like they're checking for my approval. They're checking for my approval. I don't have to say anything. But I say something and now they're looking at me. Oh, he didn't respond well to that. Maybe I'm wrong. And she starts questioning herself. Again, this is how you use it against her. I don't have to say anything. I don't argue with her. I just use my face. I use my body. Like, sometimes a girl will say something, blah, 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 and I'll just get gross. Yeah. That's all I have to say. Gross. And my body says a lot else. That is the same as telling like 90 sentences to a woman because everything I just said was communicated differently in a way that she understands. Remember, she looks at the context. So you can communicate, you say less, you can communicate in a different way. And it's really fun about like, if you disagree with something, don't hide it. That's a cool thing. Just be a man. Don't hide it. Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, share the video, but definitely subscribe. Peace.